For me, anxiety is not just a fleeting worry or a nervous feeling before a big event. It is a constant buzzing under my skin, an invisible storm coloring every moment with doubt and fear. It seeps into my mornings, turning simple routines into difficult tasks. In the evenings, instead of relaxing, it becomes a battlefield of racing thoughts and tense muscles. I remember a particular afternoon, sitting at my desk as sunlight filtered through the curtains. The pressure in my chest felt overwhelming to the point that I struggled to breathe. My hands trembled, and I felt trapped in my own mind, yearning for release. That day, I realized I could no longer continue ignoring my anxiety. I had tried to overcome it, telling myself that it was just stress, that others had it worse, that I should be able to handle it. But anxiety does not listen to reason or will. It demands attention. And, like many others, I thought about using medication. But something inside me resisted. I wanted to understand the source of my anxiety, to see if I could change my life through my own choices before seeking help from outside. My first step was to acknowledge the truth. I was anxious, and that feeling was normal. This simple act of acknowledgement became a turning point. I stopped judging myself for my emotions and began treating myself with compassion. I started reading and learning about anxiety, not just the symptoms, but also the science behind it. I learned how our bodies and minds are designed to respond to stress, and how modern life often overloads those systems. With this new understanding, I began making small but intentional changes. The first was in my daily routine. I realized I was starting my day in a rush, immediately checking my phone, scrolling through messages and news, which stressed my mind even before getting out of bed. So, I decided to reclaim my mornings. I started each day with a few minutes of deep breathing, allowing myself to simply be present. I replaced phone scrolling with stretching, spending 5 minutes gently moving my body, waking up my muscles, and calming my mind. Nutrition is another part of the puzzle. I noticed that caffeine and sugar increase my anxiety levels, making me restless and irritable. Gradually, I cut back, replacing morning coffee with herbal tea and adding more whole foods to my meals. It's not about a perfect diet, but about listening to how I feel when eating different foods. Exercise became my refuge. I realized that even a brisk walk outdoors could significantly change my mood. The rhythm of my steps, the fresh air filling my lungs, along with the sights and sounds of nature, all blended together to help me connect with the present. On days when I felt overwhelmed, I reminded myself, just put on my shoes and step outside. That action alone was enough. One of the most life-changing habits I developed is journaling. Every night, I pour all my thoughts onto the page: fears, hopes, disappointments, and moments of gratitude. By acknowledging my emotions, I give them space to breathe, instead of letting them accumulate in the dark corners of my mind. Over time, I noticed patterns emerging. I recognized triggers and began to understand the stories I told myself that fueled my anxiety. But perhaps the most important lesson is learning how to ask for help. I reached out to trusted friends and family, shared my difficulties, and listened to their stories. I realized that vulnerability is not a weakness, but a bridge to connect and understand. Today, my life is no longer completely without anxiety, but it is no longer controlled by anxiety. Through mindful habits, nurturing routines, exercise, and open conversations, I have found peace amidst chaos. Overcoming anxiety without medication is not a battle against oneself, but learning to listen, adapt, and care for oneself in ways I never did before. If you are struggling, know that change is possible, and peace can be found in the smallest, most intentional steps.